Do you have any jewelry? Have you inherited any jewelry or diamonds, gold, anything like that, and you're always wondering what it's worth? Well, we're going to go inside the mind of a master appraiser on Mind Your Business. Don't go away. Welcome to Mind Your Business. So what are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about how somebody takes a business in the diamond and gold and antique jewelry and figures out a way to build it over the years, over 30 years. And we're going to talk about customer service and how sometimes there's adverse situations when maybe all of a sudden gold goes from $600 an ounce to $200 an ounce. What happens to the industry? Or what do you do with all your, maybe you get inherited some diamonds and jewelry from your parents or grandparents. What do you do with that? How do you get it evaluated? And a lot of different questions, but in Mind Your Business, we want to learn about how these businesses succeed through integrity, customer service, follow through, expertise, and we're going to be joined by Darryl Gay, the founder of American Gold and Diamond Buyers, and we're going to explore that more when we come back.
Get it. Get it.
Get it.
Get it.
Get it.
Get it.
Is she gonna get it, Daddy?
She'll get it. Get it. Get it.
When you bring home a Goodwill find, you give your whole town a reason to celebrate because you're also funding local job training and placement programs in tech, healthcare, and more. Goodwill. Bring good home.
Welcome back to Mind Your Business. I'm Barry Farber, and we're here today with the founder of American Gold and Diamond Buyers, Darryl Gay. Darryl, thank you very much for coming.
Very good to see you again.
Yeah. You know what, I want to start out with the fact that, you know, this is a gentleman who's been in the business over 30 years, but let's go back to when you were even in high school, or I know that you've played the trumpet, you had a passion for that, and then how you got into this business.
Well, I always thought music was going to be my career. I was very active in the high school bands and the orchestras, the school plays. Then somehow I saw the paycheck of the average trumpet player, and I decided I got to do something else. So I ended up taking a part-time job, being accepted as a part-time employee at a nice, very fine jewelry store in Union, New Jersey, and I fell in love with the business.
What was it about the business you fell in love with? What?
It was everything about dealing with antique pieces, brand new pieces, interacting with the clients, learning about their backgrounds, what their needs were. It just, I could go on and on about why this business is so exciting. It's about diamonds. There's a mystique about diamonds itself. The most brilliant, natural, out of the earth, but it still takes a man to create it, which, by the way, I know you wrote that book, Diamond in the Rough, and which is something I read many, many years ago.
Yeah, we're all diamonds in the rough, right? Trying to figure out a
That's
way to
right.
polish the edges and so forth. So you started out as a salesperson, and how did that progress to getting into your own business?
Well, I always knew that to be rewarded financially, you probably have to do it yourself. You're always working for somebody else, relying on their paycheck and their signature. I felt it was best that I'd try it on my own, and which is something with the proper education. Once I felt confident in the industry, I then had diamond dealers, wholesale diamond dealers, who knew my character, and they invested with me. They actually gave me their items on consignment, knowing that I would either sell them or give them back, and pay them, of course.
Right.
So I had built up that reputation.
So you went on your own in 1983?
1983,
Right,
correct.
83. And so you were buying and selling. Now, you know, I see here's a kilo of silver. This is like, I could work out with this thing.
That's pretty
right?
heavy, yeah.
It's pretty cool. I mean, like the coins and everything, it's fascinating. A lot of people must come to you and came to you over the years with questions about how much is this worth? What can I get for this? What would you buy this for?
Correct.
What advice would you give to people in different areas we can cover about diamonds or jewelry or anything?
Well, when you say advice, first I ask them, do you wear this? Forget the bullion for right now, but regarding the jewelry, do you still wear it? Does it have a sentimental attachment to you? Maybe you should hang on to it. And while it might not be worth in terms of dollars and cents, but maybe you received it from your grandmother or your mother, or your father wore it every day and it means something to you today. So I would advise them to maybe hang on to it. Now, unfortunately, many people would rather sell it because they'd rather have the money. And that's the wonderful thing about this industry is when I do buy items, I feel I'm helping people fill a need. So they're not using the jewelry, but they'd rather have the cash for it.
So over the years, you've dealt with a lot of people. What are some of the key things about running a business like this business that are critical for success long term?
For long-term success, you have to go to the old cliche, the customer is always right.
Right.
So you have to cater to your customers' needs, find out what's important to them, and make that happen. Right. Whether it's repairing a piece of jewelry, back in the days when I used to repair a family heirloom, or if they're trying to create a new piece for one of their children. So it's always the customer first.
Right, which is so important. And what goes around comes around. You probably have a lot of referrals. Somebody says, this guy's great, he took care of me, and that's how you get most of your business, right?
Yes.
Word of mouth.
That's right.
Talk about something in your business where, give me an example. I mean, this is the coolest thing in the world to see that, you know, somebody comes in with, I remember being here, somebody came in with some silver from their grandfather's business and you evaluated it and, you know, you gave them a nice deal versus some other people out there. What about some of these pieces could you talk about that the
Sure.
viewer can get an idea of what you actually do?
Well, we have different items on display here. The item you picked up, which is a kilo of silver. This is basically raw material. This is pure silver, over 32 ounces.
It's heavy.
It is very heavy. This is a commodity. So this is the before.
But it's pure.
This is pure.
100%?
100.999 is what
Right,
they
right,
call it.
right.
But for all purposes, it's pure. But most jewelry that's made with silver is in the United States is sterling silver, which means because silver is a very soft metal
Right.
to be worn into jewelry. So you have to mix it with another metal. We call that metal the alloy. So for sterling silver jewelry, it's 92.5% pure with 7.5% of other metals to make it a little bit harder so you can wear it. So that's silver. Now we talk about gold. Gold, it can be 14 karat, 18 karat. That's the base metal.
Those are real diamonds.
These
right?
are real diamonds.
Beautiful.
This is a stunning, stunning bracelet. And you have to think of the labor in a piece like this. Like when I evaluate, for example, I have to figure out what is the actual cost to set each one of these diamonds. How about for the 400 diamonds that are in this bracelet, somebody has to sit there and sort them out. That might take 2 days to find the right matching diamonds that go into a piece like this. So you think of the time, the effort, the labor.
And you evaluate the individual diamonds also?
Yes,
Right.
yes. And if this piece was made properly, which this one was, I could take the diamond from this side and I could say it's an exact match with the diamond on the total other side of the bracelet. So You only have to grade a few, just make sure they're consistent, and I'll be able to come up with a fair evaluation.
It's not as easy as it sounds. I mean, I remember doing research in the Diamond District and going to some of the most well-known diamond cutters as an intro for the book Diamond in the Rough you were talking about, and I found that the things about clarity and the type of jewel, and they spend sometimes months planning before they cut a stone. So you are able to evaluate those stones when they're finished.
That's correct.
Right.
That has always been my expertise.
Diamonds?
I have a passion for the diamonds. Again, the mystique, the beauty. I can look at diamonds the way a lot of car collectors can look at cars. You can look at a car and say, well, that's a 62 Chevy Corvette. I could look at a certain diamond and I could say, well, that's a transition cut. It was probably cut in the early 1940s.
So you can tell the year?
I could,
Really?
within a certain
Yeah.
range, based at the engineering of the diamond.
Gotcha.
Remember, Mother Nature does one part, but man does the other. So the way that man treated that diamond, how he cut it, the angles, the proportions, there's a lot of clues how I could determine the age.
That's
It
interesting.
is very, very interesting.
But before we go to break, let's talk about what people can bring in to you. I don't know, I have stuff around the house. Let's say I have some old jewelry, some nice fine watch pieces or whatever. Is there a variety of things that you specialize in that you can talk about that are?
Yes, there are many items that I specialize in. However, I like to tell every single client, whatever you have, bring it in. I'd like to give you an example. I had a woman come to me from Mendham just about 4 months ago. She told me her mother had passed away 4 years ago, and the jewelry's been sitting, and she showed me the gold. And I made her an offer, which was only a couple $1,000s. She was thrilled. She then told me, well, I have a whole trunk load of costume jewelry that I'm going to go donate. I said, no, before you take your costume jewelry in to donate it, has anybody evaluated for you? She said, no. I said, do me a favor, let's bring it in. I helped her carry 2 suitcases in. She left 4 hours later with a check for over $40,000. She was confused with what her items were.
Oh, wow.
That's why I tell every client, bring everything in. There's no cost for me to evaluate, to tell you what you have that's
There
real.
isn't.
I'll sort it all out for you. If you want to sell it, great, that's another conversation. But at least this way you know what you have. So yes, bring the costume jewelry, bring the sterling silver flatware, bring the coins. I mean, there are certain coins that are from the 1800s. Most of them are around $20 to $25, but I recently bought one for almost $5,000. And to see them side by side in a tray, you almost wouldn't know the difference.
Wow.
That's what I do. So I'm very passionate about this, and I enjoy it. And what makes this business so exciting for me is I don't know what's going to happen day to day. I don't know who's going to walk through the door. I've had celebrities come in unexpectedly, and just the regular local business owner to this simple woman who's retired. She's at home and has nothing else to do but learn about her jewelry.
Right. Well, you have the experience. You know what? When we come back from the break, I want to get into also what happened in 2001 when gold went from $600 an ounce to $200 an ounce, and kind of made the business a little tough. And then you went in a new profession, and I think passion is so important, because if we don't have passion, we don't put in. We don't want to get up early. We don't want to work late. We don't get excited. And it becomes like we don't really work if we have passion. You know what I mean? It's
That is
something you
correct.
love. It's a lifetime hobby. So you made a transition, right?
That's correct.
And
When gold had dropped in price from roughly $600 an ounce to $200 an ounce, it changed the dynamics of my whole industry, the jewelry industry. Your inventory was now worth less. You're selling items for less money, which unfortunately, if you're supporting a family, it's still a job, you still have to get a paycheck. The less money was coming in every day. So I had to evolve into another profession.
right, well, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about how that transition went, a little adversity, but then what did you gain from that, and coming back from that. So we come back with Mind Your Business with the master appraiser. I would love to be called the master appraiser. Darryl Gay. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
Please have a seat. I'll be honest. Your resume is not what I'm used to.
I know.
Okay, so what would you bring to my company?
What do you need?
I need a hard worker.
Good. I've got 2 part-time jobs and to help my parents pay the bills.
I need problem-solving skills.
I got through high school without a car, a phone, or a computer.
No college degree, though.
Not yet, but life's taught me a lot, and I'm ready for more.
Well, you're not the typical kind of candidate that I hire. But you are exactly what I'm looking for.
Your company could be missing out on the candidates it needs most. Learn how to find, cultivate, and train a great pool of untapped talent at gradsoflife.org.
Welcome back. I'm Barry Farber. This is Mind Your Business, and we're going to now take a look at some of the things. We're with Darryl Gay of American Gold and Diamond Buyers, and we're going to kind of explore a little bit about what you went through in 2001 when gold dropped from 600 to 200 an ounce you were talking about, and then you had to go into a different profession. Explain that and what kind of hurdles you had to go through.
Sure. Well, as you just mentioned, the price of gold, which was so critical to the pricing of my entire industry, had dropped dramatically. And having a wife, a mortgage, 2 kids in private school, I had to find something else to do to supplement the income.
Sure.
So I went and got my real estate license in New Jersey for residential sales, and I was moderately successful with it. I ended up working for a developer. We had projects in New Jersey and in North Carolina, and I did very well. However, I have to say, I just never enjoyed it. It was a job. And I could sympathize with people who they say they're stuck in their dead-end job or they don't enjoy their job. I could never understand it before because I always did something I loved.
Right.
Then through changes in our economy, we all remember the disaster of in 2007, 2008.
Right.
Banks stopped lending money. All of a sudden, the price of gold started to skyrocket. I knew it was my opportunity to get back into the business that I love, and I've never looked back. It's been just wonderful ever since.
Right. So 2007-8, you started off your $80 million in sales, and then you went to, $80,000.
I wish it was $80 million, yes.
But you went from $80,000 to $35 million in sales, right?
That's correct.
So you really had a nice growth there. What were some of the things maybe you learned through the adversity of taking another position that you weren't passionate about and then applied to when you finally got back in the business?
Well, I learned more about, the good news was I learned more about the structure from another company. So I took what worked for them and I applied those characteristics into my business that I recreated. So it became a little more disciplined, especially growing the company to the numbers you mentioned, going from just myself operating to at one point having over 150 people working for me.
That's awesome.
And these were people from various backgrounds that I taught them my industry. And I taught them how to appraise and how to help people fill their needs because they had jewelry they wanted to sell, and the rest is history.
Right. So you have products like this, which I just love picking this thing up. I don't know what it is. You know, it's something about it. It's $1,800 worth of silver in a kilo, right?
That's correct. That's 1 kilo. That's 1,000 grams of silver.
Silver. 99% pure.
99% pure.
Now, what if it was gold? How much would this be worth?
Over $40,000 to $45,000.
You don't have any one of these I could take home with me, or just
yesterday?
Yesterday.
So you just missed it.
So talk about the coins and some of the other things that people have at home that they'll say, you know what, I don't know what I'm doing. I'd love to have Darryl just evaluate this and appraise it. What would?
Well, we talk about coins. There's 2 different types of basic coins. There's the coins that were used for currency. There's silver dollars from the 1800s. This is the money of the day. You didn't have the paper. You got paid in coins that were this size. Today they can be worth $25 to hundreds of thousands of dollars for those rare coins.
What makes it more, obviously $100, but what makes it thousands of dollars? Is it the year or the mint or the?
It's a combination of several factors. It's what you mentioned, the year, the mint mark. Where was it minted in Philadelphia? Was it minted in Carson City, Nevada?
I know Carson City is more expensive.
Carson City is much more expensive. And the amount of production. So the more limited the production of the coin, the rarer it is. Therefore, the more valuable. Now, then it's
That's
a condition.
like with anything, cars.
Like with anything. It's truly that way with anything. This coin is strictly bullion. This is no different than having approximately $18 of cash in your hand. This coin itself will never go up. It only goes up with the price of silver. So wherever silver trades, that's what this is worth. Likewise with that bullion coin. Gold coins work basically the same way.
What about tea? You have a tea set here. You have This is not something you normally do? Or?
Well, sure. This is a daily part of our business. Going back into the early 1900s, late 1800s, right through the 1930s, it was normal for people to have their own sterling silver tea and coffee set, their tray. This was a status symbol within the home. But yes, this was a very steady part, but today nobody wants it. Nobody wants to polish it. They look at it, it doesn't fit their decor.
So you're melting this down more than anything? Or
I
no?
hate to admit, but most of these end up getting melted down. There are a few from special designers, a Bucciolati or a Tiffany set. It would be a sin to melt it, but at the same time, they're very difficult to resell. So the retail price of these items have gone down.
What's the most unique things that have come through the door over the years that, there's a lot of them, right?
A lot of unique items have come through, a lot of unique situations, very interesting sellers. But one piece I just pulled out of my showcase, and I pull this out and I show a lot of my clients, because even when this came in, I wasn't aware of what this was. And by looking at this, what do you think it is, Barry?
It picks something up. I don't know.
It looks like it picks something up. Right. People would tell me it's a hair curler, but really what this is from the late 1800s, approximately 1870 to 1890. When, remember, there were no cars. You'd get off your horse and you had your gloves.
Right.
And especially today that we're filming is a rainy day, your gloves would start to shrink. This actually goes into the glove and opens up the finger hole. So you could now place the...
because you can't take it off?
No, you could take it off, but you wouldn't be able to put them back on. So this would stretch out because the leather shrinks.
See. Right.
So this is a glove stretcher.
Now, what does something like that go for? What do you think?
There's really no market for this. It's really more of a conversation piece.
Gotcha.
And the truth is, it goes for its silver content. That's what this is worth.
Right. Because back then, is the silver different being made then than today? I mean,
If it was made in the United States, the answer is no. It would still be sterling silver, which is 92.5% pure silver.
yeah. And you have watches and pocket watches. I know a lot of people have old watches they collect.
Pocket watches were the first, most accurate timepiece that people could own, the way of telling time. Literally ran the railroads. There was no digital service then. So you see the old movies, the conductor's out there, he looks at his wristwatch and he clicks it and says, all aboard, and this is what they would use. These were the finest, most accurate timepieces available at their time, known as the railroad watches.
Right. Awesome. You know, what's interesting is, I don't know if you know, we're filming live here in your location, and people came in, we had to stop and cut because customers came in, and right away, Darryl goes over to help that customer because the customer is most important. And I remember just a quote, the founder of Ralston Purina said, "Catch a passion for helping others and a richer life comes back to you." And I think you do that really well here. You know, that I've known people who come through, and that's why I was interested in coming here and talking to you.
Well, thank you.
But the passion that you mentioned, there's nothing that drives people with passion. If you don't have passion, it makes it very difficult to get over hurdles and obstacles. Where are you going next? What's the future, what you're looking at here with what you're doing and changes? And
That's a great question. 2019 is an exciting time. I plan on offering to people who want to who are entrepreneurs, they want to go into business for themselves, the opportunity to learn what I've learned. You know, I'm 57 years old. I'm going to do this for maybe another 10 years. I'd like to retire also. So I want to offer people business opportunities, how to break into this business. I have a great name, and thank God, an impeccable reputation. I have a special way of treating every client, and a special way of handling every client and their merchandise. It's an exciting field. You know, with the popularity of shows like the Antique Roadshow and Pawn Stars and American Pickers, these are such exciting shows that people are just drawn to. I live that every day. It's such an exciting business. I never know what I'm going to see next. And it's also the kind of business where some days I'm busy from 10 o'clock in the morning till 6 o'clock at night. Other days, I might not see a client until 4 o'clock, but they come in with $20,000 of items they'd love to sell that they just inherited. They have no use for it. So it's an exciting business.
You never know what's going to happen next.
Never know
the
what's
guys who called during our show and we had to take a break for a gold toilet or sink or something.
We received a phone call, one of those rings you heard. A gentleman had a gold faucet from his bathroom that he would like to know what it's worth. So he's going to come in with it. If it's really gold or not, well, to be determined. But that's what I said earlier. If you never know what you have, let me, because I do. Let me see it, because I do know what you have.
Yeah.
So bring it to me.
Yeah. You're an expert. You really appreciate the time. You've done this for a long time. What's your definition of success now after these years in this business?
Enjoying what you do. I enjoy every single day. I see my clients smile. I educate people. I just love what I do every day. That's what else can I say? And when I see other people get successful by doing what I do, after I've trained them, that's the feather in the cap.
Right. Well, that's obvious by how you work and the time I've spent with you, and I really appreciate this time. Any last thing you want to share with people who have a basement of material collections, antiques,
Great
hand-me-downs? Any recommendation?
Yes. In fact, everybody's downsizing today. They're living with less. So they're parting with their items. The key word today is purging. So I say, bring everything to me. Let me see it. By the way, don't throw anything out. Don't throw anything out. Bring items to me, and they could be anything.
You can have trucks come here.
You can have trucks come here. Or more often than not, I'll go to the home. And if it's not for me, and if I'm not the expert in what the items are, I have experts that work along with me. Right. That might specialize in their china, that specialize in certain vintage furniture, Persian rugs, etc. So I have
the contacts for
that to help you out.
Yeah, great. Well, Darryl, it's a pleasure. It really
My
is.
pleasure.
I enjoyed
Thank
it,
you.
and I enjoyed your passion and interesting ideas about what to do with antique jewelry, gold, diamonds, and so forth. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Barry.
I'm Barry Farber. This is Mind Your Business, and I'll see you soon. Take care.